Hold on. I believe we are live. I hope that the sound is on. Now, the sound is for some reason not on. What about now? Is the sound on now? Sound is on. Okay. Let me know if the sound is on or not, if you can't hear me. There's a very annoying message here on this stupid device. For some reason, it says that the sound is not on. Okay, it's the placement of this device. Let's see. I believe, okay, all is good, okay. Isn't that wonderful? We have lots to talk about, don't we? So I realize now sitting so I'm sitting in my living room and we have lots to talk about, and then I put my glasses on. So I'm like this grumpy grandpa being very serious about something. But yeah, we're going to just have a conversation, I guess, and hopefully the dogs will not make too much noise here right now. Yeah, because they are in the background. So I look like a wise old skipper. Well, hopefully. So yeah, first of all, one thing that I want to address, I get a little bit, now and then people comment on my eye, actually. So this eye here, my right eye. Oh, you have a lazy eye. And I kind of have a lazy eye because it's more closed than the other one. And people come up with all sorts of stupid ideas on why it's like that. And it's like, yeah, I was born like that. So, yeah, thank you very much. But anyway, that's just how it is. I've not been doing many live streams lately because I have been busy with my new novel. I won't get into details on how to make a novel, but I can just say that been a lot of work. Been a lot of work, and I was up 2:30. I don't want to get up that early, but when I work a lot, I get a headache. And then I wake up with a headache. And then, no point in trying to get some sleep again. So I was just, let's get into the office and do the rest of the work. So, but anyway, we should talk about the digital ID in the UK. Well, the digital ID that is first being rolled out in the UK and what that means. Now, I said something that was wrong in another live stream. I said that they are rolling it out now as we speak almost. Or I said that they're going to do it like in a few days. That's apparently not true. It has to go through a process, and that might take some time. And I honestly don't know the system in the UK that well. So Are we talking months or years? I don't know. But I think what it looks like now is that it's coming. It's coming. And as I said, I believe that both the EU and the USA will follow. And there is reason to worry. And then I tried to explain why a digital ID is not just a digital version of a paper ID. This will be connected to digital money, programmable money, and if you do something, if you're being a naughty boy, they can close everything for you, make life very difficult for you. So I don't think, Martin, I don't think it's the same as my ID. I'm not sure, because I'm in Norway. I'm not sure. But the key is when this is all linked together. So we have they can just pull a lever and close everything, close you out of society, so to speak. And then you won't be able to do anything. So that's why we should worry. Mike says, what's your channel about? This this channel is about whatever. I do mostly live streams here. There is a link to my other channels in that very secret area of YouTube called the video description. Tyrdom says we have bank ID in Sweden as well, but I don't think this is the same. Yeah, we have the same in Norway, but that's not a digital ID. And Bjorn says, kind of like a kill switch on your life. Yes. So, moving on, I just wanted to get that out of the way. I talk a lot about not really Christianity here on this channel, but the more systemic Christianity, if I can call it that. And an example of that is Christian nationalism. We see the rise of Christian nationalism in the USA now. And I talk about that because I truly believe that that is one of the biggest threats to freedom that we have now. I wouldn't have said so just a few years ago, but I truly believe so. Yeah, if the video is glitching, I don't think, there is my side of it and your side of it, so it could be only on your side. But let me know if you're having problem with the video or the sound. And I also honestly believe that Amy, it should be okay in a few seconds or minutes. I truly believe that what comes with or what brings a dogmatic system like communism or systemic, or I want to call it systemic Christendom, if you will, or Christianity, or Islam. Islam is a law system. It's a system of laws, first and foremost. Fascism, any of those and other totalitarian systems, what they seem to like, what they seem to need in order to exist is a lack of education in the populations. So if the people read books, that's not the same as social media posts. If they read books, if they have access to education, they will be much more able to see what's going on, you know. And of course, it's if you have the kind of mindset and the ability to go to university, I think that's a great thing. But not everyone can do that, because in Norway, the state universities are free, which is great. But in other countries, most other countries, you can't do that if you don't have the money. And I see, we hear a lot of things about the USA here in Norway. I don't know why that is, but well, I know why that is, but that's not the point. And it seems to be a lack of education in the USA. It seems to be like the thing where young men don't read books, for instance. We have some trolls here. That's okay. Thank you for taking care of that. So in the USA, and other countries too, I'm not there, but we can see that there seems to be a connection between the lack of education and the rise of something like Christian nationalism. And I would say that nationalism and Christianity, how can you combine those? But each to his own, I guess. That's the dog, one of the dogs you're hearing upstairs. Yeah. And it worries me because we have seen it before in world history. So, yeah. I'm sorry about that. I was in doubt whether I should do the live stream from here. But yeah, there it is. Okay. So I got a comment the other day, and it was a nice comment, and it said, something like, "Nei, gå og legg deg. Nei, gå og legg deg. Gå og legg deg." Yeah. It said something like, you won't like this because the only book I read is the Bible. And it's like, I responded to that one. I just wrote that I believe that we should read more than one book. Yeah. So, and I've read many books, but there are many people out there who have read many more books than I have read. I'm not a big reader, actually, but I do read every day. So, yeah, but anyway. Okay, just wanted to say that. So this live stream here is a little bit like, I don't really have a one topic for this live stream. I guess the mystical algorithm hates that, and I don't care. At this point, we shouldn't really care about the YouTube system, how YouTube works at all. It's YouTube is YouTube is such a joke. But anyway, let's see here. There was a question. So immigrants, but we'll get to that. Joe says, what are we meant to do about digital IDs? I wish I had an answer to that. I don't. I won't pretend that, you know what, what I will never do is sit here and act like a tough guy. Because I'm not. And neither are you. Sorry, but it's like we're talking about, it's going to be very difficult to not have a digital ID. And I see a lot of people saying that they will not have a digital ID. I think they will have a digital ID, and I guess that many people here will write right now, I will never have a digital ID. But then what will you do when you can't buy anything without the digital ID? What will you do when you don't get paid for your work without the digital ID? They're going to force this onto people. And then what are you going to do? Steal and loot? I think you can't do that for very long because they will catch you and put you in a prison. And I think that what you need to do, or the only realistic option, is to establish a life outside of the grid. Now, I do believe, Björg, that this is very different from the jab, because that's a physiological intrusion. It's a medical procedure being done to you. If you have a digital ID, you will still have your physical integrity intact. Now, but I don't know. I don't know the answer here, but I think that whatever you believe, whatever you hope, establishing some kind of existence outside of the grid will be very beneficial and necessary. That can be something like just being able to go out and spend a week in the forest. How many people can hike for 100 kilometers in a week, carrying everything they need during winter? How many of you can do that? Can I do that? I can do that, but it wouldn't be pleasurable for me. I must admit that. I'm 53 years old. It's not like I'm feeling the age, but I do realize that in a few years, I might, maybe I get sick, you know? Maybe I need medicines. What if I need a digital ID to get medical treatment? You know? So it's like, yeah. But let's move on. What do you think about immigrants? I got that question a few times. I have nothing against immigrants, but I do have something against the policies that changes the demographics of entire countries. What is an immigrant? I mean, we need immigrants to some extent, at least here in Norway, because there are not enough people here actually. So, but it's like, so yeah, it's good if we get immigrants here who are educated, who will just fit in the culture, so to speak, right away. That's great, you know. Someone with, I mentioned medical attention here. If someone is a doctor or a nurse, yeah, that's a good immigrant that would be needed, will be needed, right? But I think what we're talking about here, or what you mentioned, um, is more like the massive um, amount of people coming from North Africa and, well, let's call it what it is, the Muslim world, poor Muslim countries. Um, that's not, generally speaking, that's obviously not a good thing. Not saying that everyone who comes from those countries are bad. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that, as Abu here says, uncontrolled immigration. Um, yeah, it's a horrible idea. I totally agree, especially in an overpopulated world. And when you go to the UK, and I've been to the UK many times up through the years, and last time I was there, I was just it was so different, and it had changed so quickly. And I will say this, it didn't feel English anymore. I went to England and it didn't feel English anymore. And when I go to England, I want it to be England. And I have some ideas about what English culture is. And I can tell you a lot about that, but I will tell you something about what English culture is not. English culture is not a street full of barbershops, Turkish barbershops. It's not mosques. It's not big groups of people dressed as if they were in, a conservative part of Pakistan. That's not England to me. And as I've said before, um, I just feel for the English people. It's a horrible thing that's happening there. It's a horrible thing because it's an island and it's full of people already. It's insane when you go there. There are people everywhere. So, um, yeah. It's very simple. It's very simple, and of course, people are upset in the UK. Of course, they should be. They should be. And of course, there's in the USA, you have, of course, had the problem with illegal immigrants for so long that it's ingrained in the economic system. So, yeah. And I don't see how they will be able to change that without disrupting everything. Yeah. Now, I live in Norway, so while we have had immigration to Norway, of course, it's not been nearly as much as in the EU countries. So Norway is not a part of the EU. And it's like where I live, it's easy to think when you live here, where I live, that immigration is not a problem. And anyone who says it is, they are just racists. Because there is no immigration here. uh, but then I go to areas with a lot of immigration and I see that, yeah, absolutely, there are problems. There are problems. And I think we all know what kind of problems we're talking about here. And I might get this live stream removed by YouTube if I answer that question, AA, what problems? If I say that, I might get in trouble. Yeah. Yeah, so behind me, yeah, that's the painting over there. Yeah, that's a ship out on the ocean. Looks like, if you had seen it, like it looks like a scene from Master and Commander, if you know that book. It's a movie too. Yeah. Is it a British ship? I can't remember actually. I can't remember. I'll tell you another time. So, yeah, I just wanted to respond to something here. You know, everyone's talking about, well, not everyone. Some people are talking about the line in the sand. Where's your line in the sand? Where's your line in the sand? My line in the sand is anything. If we go back to the COVID crisis, my line in the sand was anything going into my body, right? And I said, no, I will decide, and my decision is no. That was always my line in the sand. And I was both ready and prepared to live closed off and out of society with my dogs, my family, everything, because we all made that decision. With the introduction of digital ID, which is also coming to Norway, I have no doubt it will also come to Norway. Because someone said it will be linked to vaccines. So when that happens, then okay, that will be a very different life. That will be a very different life. So it's like, yeah. Scott, thank you so much for the donation. That's so kind of you. That's so kind of you. Yeah, someone said something here. I believe maybe you're from the USA, you have plenty more land and so on. Yeah, in Norway it's mostly wilderness. So while it is very difficult and tough to live out in a Norwegian or Swedish wilderness, it can be done. And I can say that with confidence because people have been doing it since forever. And actually, you had people living like that up until, well, you had people living like that when I was a child in the woods east of Oslo, where I grew up. And there was a famous, infamous thing that happened there because these people, they got together, they had a party in the woods one day or one night, lots of drinking, and they started fighting, and one of the guys were killed, actually. So it was like, yeah, but those guys, they lived out there, they hunted and they fished, well, were also fishermen in the lakes and so on. And so it can be done. Do I want to live like that? No, absolutely not. But if it's that, or having a syringe with something I don't want, no, I'll live out in the woods. So, yeah. Or move to a different country. Jacobsen, Mr. Jacobsen, went to Tanzania. By the way, um, uh, yeah, I believe Africa is the future. I believe Africa is the future because of one simple thing. Can you guess what it is? The painting Leif Erikson Discovering America, it wasn't banned. It was just not shown there for some reason. It wasn't banned, as far as I remember. What did I ask you? No, yeah, Africa. Why is Africa the future? One simple reason. They are still having enough babies born. Europe, no. The USA, no. China, no. India, no. Yeah, Abu, you are correct. So it's like, yeah, give it a few decades, and you will see that Africa is the new superpower. Mark my words. Important question here. I can't read your nickname there, but you're asking, will digital ID be on smartphone and you'll be ostracized from society if you don't have a smartphone? Now, I believe so, yes. Yes and yes. I have a health issue, and I have had for almost a year. I am getting treatment, and that is the reason why I have a smartphone now, because those tools are on the smartphone. No, it's not my heart. So I will recover. I have decided to recover, and when I have recovered, I will not be dependent on the smartphone anymore. I have gone without the smartphone 5 years, I believe it was, before this happened. And I will be happy to go back to not having a smartphone again. Zigzag, thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Joe, thank you. You know, you're saying we'll pray for me. Thank you so much for that. I absolutely appreciate those kind words, even though I'm not a Christian. So yeah. Diana says US wants to use digital watches to track health, which will be connected to ID. Yeah, I have no doubt that they want to do that. So there's this term, is a good segue. Can you say that? Segue into another topic. Yeah. Joe, thank you so much for saying that. Absolute Calvinist says, why are you not a Christian? Well, absolute Calvinist, why are you not a Norse pagan? Jason, hi there, good to see you. Well, I just want to say that I've made some many lifestyle changes. And this today was the last day of caffeine, and I went tapered it. Um, so it's been like 1 cup of tea, the equivalent of 1 cup of tea. So this was the last day of that. Yeah, absolute Calvinist says it's false. No, I don't think Christianity is false. It's just a different life philosophy, you know. Um, it's okay, but it's like I'm not to decide for you, you know, and you're not to decide for me. Yeah, I did get what you're trying to say, but we will accept no trolling here, and so on. Styr says it's not up to you. Yeah. um, yeah. Okay. So I made some changes, and I just want to share some words about that. I have an anti-inflammatory diet completely. So I eat no processed food, and a lot of eggs, a lot of red meat, not so much carbs, and it feels great. It just feels awesome. It feels awesome. And I will encourage anyone out there to try. Just take a month and eat no processed food and lots of uh, animal fats, animal protein. So yeah, it there is quite a lot of research behind it as well. Yeah, we don't need all those carbs, you know. I add some potatoes in my omelette in the morning. And yeah, Jason, for me, dairy products are not good. I make some pancakes, and then I have a little bit of dairy in it, but that's the only dairy product I have. Amy, I have steak for dinner every day, every day. I'll never not want to have steak for dinner. I cook the meat, yes. Oh, Diana says switch to similar diet, finally losing weight. Yeah, you know, we don't need all those carbs, and I also think that what the processed food is doing is that it's actually making people more hungry. So when you start your day with four or five eggs, you have so much healthy fats in there that it's going to give you energy for many hours. Amy is saying, when will you be making more videos for your Bjorn Outdoors channel? I will get back to doing that. It was a combination of, for me, the reason I haven't been doing that for a while is that first I got the health issues, which is linked to me trying to pretend that I didn't have 2 jobs, but being a YouTuber with 4 channels and a full-time novelist, it's basically having 2 full-time jobs. And then I chose to concentrate on the main channel, and I do live streams here now and then, as you know. But I will get back to it. um, I don't I don't think that my outdoors channel will ever be profitable, but that's not really why I do it. Um, so yeah, thank you, Amy. That's so kind of you. I will get back to it because it's like the honest. If you ask yourself, being a YouTuber, especially now, YouTube is such a crappy place now. It really is, and I have to say that. And you hear all these other creators saying, "Oh," and they're saying the same. You have the AI slop, and you have the fucking reaction videos, which adds no value to anything, and they're parasitic. That's what they are. Um, and you have other YouTubers talking about that, and they will always say, "I'm not complaining," but of course they are complaining, and so am I. Of course I'm complaining. Why the hell would I not complain? Why wouldn't I complain? you know, I'm on my main channel. I make videos about the Viking Age, and I get good views. But the AI slop history channels, where it's if you click on those, which you shouldn't, um, I made a mistake. I've made the mistake to click on those a couple of times or more. No, not many times, 3 or 4 times. It's all been a combination of theft from movies and other people's channels and AI slop. And also, they're not correct in what they're saying. So I saw this video, or that's one of I made a mistake. I clicked on it. How did the Vikings survive the harsh winters? Oh, the surprising, shocking answer. They slept with the animals. And I'm like, no, they didn't. They usually shared the house with the animals, and they slept. I'm like, yeah. They used the warmth from the animals, and also they needed to protect the animals from the cold. So it made sense to have a big longhouse with one section for the animals, one section for the humans, and also very often they would sleep on top of, like, the under the ceiling over the animals. That's not exclusive to the Vikings. They did that through the medieval age in most European countries. Um, so it's like but that's not how they kept warm. They had their clothes were their clothes were extremely warm. They've done tests. They are very effective. And also they had furs. They had animal furs that they could cover themselves with, which is very warm. But anyway, and as someone said in that video, they said that firewood was scarce. Not in Scandinavia, no, it was not. Okay. Yeah, the Wasteland Ranger says, sadly, a lot of the old god of bushcraft and survival are dying off. And IRS, I don't know what that means, but getting replaced by gear peddlers and slop. I've seen that. And I would say at this point, most of the channels, most of the YouTube creators I have always been watching, they quit. Up through the last few years, they quit. Um, that's very sad. Um, so let's see here. Pocket full of pebbles. You're vegetarian. Yeah, well, if it works for you, I think that's great. Absolutely. Jason says, "What did they run out of trees in Scandinavia in the Dark Ages?" um, firewood being scarce, I think, as we move up through the medieval age, yes, it was scarce in some areas, not in Scandinavia. The British Islands, of course. Um, but anyway. Oh, IRS, bad spell of it's. Okay. Planting garlic again at the cabin? No, I won't. It was not successful. Um, this year I've had a lot of small cucumbers. Yeah. So that's been a success. So I've been on my radishes was not successful this year. Neither the carrots, but the salad and the what's it called in English? Bladbete. It's called. It's not salad, but it's green and red, and you can use it as salad. But the cucumbers are very successful. I do eat some vegetables. Yeah. The Wasteland Ranger says, if you read an old survival book by people like Gary McPherson, Rudiger Neberg, or Tom Brown, they are full of information and wisdom, but we are disconnecting ourselves from ancient wisdom. Absolutely, I agree. That's why I think it's so important to build up a library. That's so important. Get the classics. Get an encyclopedia. Get those survival books, the bushcraft books. Get books on how to treat um, medical emergencies, and so on and so on. AK95 says, I'm a historian. Are you? And you have lit my interest in the Viking Age. I've learned so much from you. Well, I take that as a big compliment. You being an historian, and you learned from my videos. That's great. Thank you. I actually, big secret. No, it's not a secret. I'll try to do the bachelor's degree in history on the side, online, starting in a few days. I'll start springtime or winter. But I'll go through I'll read the books now. Yeah. Encyclopedia. Yes. Octolord, there are some things we can't really talk so much about here on CensorTube. So, Amy, thank you for bringing that up. My books, and I've written many novels, more than 20 novels. But before I get to that, let me just say that get physical copies of books. Become a reader. because anything and everything online can be and probably will be changed. So, let's see here. What was this? Yeah, my books in English. I have looked into why. So, okay, my books are available in 10 languages. Not all of them, but the series that I'm doing now, it's available in 10 languages. So why not in English yet? When you're watching this, they might be in the future, they might be available in English because now things are changing because people are pointing at the publishing business in the USA and the UK and they're saying you got woke and also it's dominated by women. And that's a main reason why men are not reading as much anymore. Because when it's dominated by women, they tend to sign contracts with authors writing for women because that's what they like, they themselves. But they've been called out many times now. It seems to be there is, I can smell there's a change coming. So I have hopes now. I have hopes. This is, by the way, a problem that is it's worst in the USA and also quite bad in the UK. So we will get there. My books will be available in English. Yeah, we have Jorva says, "Bro, get a job." Yeah, we can just get rid of that person. So yeah, Brenda says, "I'm a collector of cookbooks. My interest is ancestral eating. I'm of German and Swedish descent." Yeah, that's absolutely very interesting. Murdoch says, "I will buy your books." Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Diana, no, English-speaking country without woke attitudes, Northern Ireland maybe. Well, it's like it's the publishing business. It's not the country per se. It's the publishing business, and you only need one. You only need one. Hold on, can I get? Let's see. You only need one yes from an agent, right? No, from a I have an agent. From a your agent only need to make one deal, you know. So I've read the Kalevala. Well, I haven't read all of it. Can't remember now. Let's see. Beta, hello from Tennessee. You know what? I saw just last night, I saw a TV show, like a traveling program with Griff Jones from the UK, traveling in the USA, the southern states, and he was in Tennessee. um, and it was awesome. He's originally a comedian, and he's 70 now. He looks younger. Griff is a woke. Well, I only know him as a comedian. But yeah, that was looked like a wonderful place. So yeah. Let's see. Beta says, come visit. I might. Beba says, is Jo Nesbø worth reading? I have never read Jo Nesbø. I've met him a few times, and he's a nice enough guy. It's crime. If you like crime, then I guess it's maybe you like it. Yeah, he's incredibly wealthy. Yeah, Jo Nesbø is very, very rich. He's a very rich man. Yeah. So, Murphy, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, Mike, piracy and theft is always a problem. And I think that there's only so much you can do to those people. I can't do that. I can't deal with that. It's sadly, with AI, they've made it very easy to steal other people's content. It's very difficult to go after that. It's almost a full-time job to do that. But the translation will be rubbish, of course, because it's AI translation. It doesn't make sense. It's just nonsense. So, Kaysen, intermarriage of certain families, British Islands, Vikings, and descendants of Vikings. That's absolutely something I can get into in the video on the main channel. I will say that in a general, just speaking generally, it's not, it's so. I will say how it's not. It's not like this, right? First, so the idea that the Vikings were these barbarians raiding and being very bad people on the British Islands, fighting against the English and so on. And they were two separate peoples. That's not correct, because essentially, and especially as you move up through the Viking Age, so many of these families were in fact related through marriage and so on. So you didn't really have the English there and the Vikings there, right? You had, for instance, an area called the Danelaw, which was, well, it says in the name, Danish law, Danelaw, Danes. And this is a big, big topic. And this is what I write about. This is where my books are set in this time period. So it's a huge topic. But I just wanted to say that it wasn't like you had one ethnic group, the English, which is not an ethnic group. You have Anglo-Saxons, for instance, and so on, and then you had the Vikings, and they would fight each other. That's not how it was. Okay, but you guys know this already. Um, yeah. I will finish this live stream by complaining a little bit. Um, and if you don't want to listen to that, then you can go and do something else, of course. But YouTube now, and this has been addressed by other YouTubers, other creators, other true creators. YouTube recently launched lots of new AI tools on the platform. So what they're doing is that they are lowering the bar, making it much, much easier to make, especially shorts, that look good. We're talking AI slop. Now you need only a photo to make an AI slop shorts video. YouTube will animate the photo. And this is not a good thing. What it means is that the homepage, which is what most people use, is being filled up with either reaction videos or AI slop. And for one, I don't want to watch that. I want to connect with through watching videos made by real people, real creators, doing real things and filming that. I don't want to see some fucking idiot dancing and miming to some music that they stole. I don't want to see that. So that seems to be the direction where YouTube is heading. As far as I know, when we're talking about the reaction videos, you have basically someone sitting there in a corner. They have this little square in the corner, picking their nose, watching a video, and that's their video, and they make money off of that. That's just being parasitical, and in any other area, that would have been a subject for copyright. That would have been a copyright case. So, in other words, you would have the guy sitting there picking his nose would have had to pay money to the creator of the original video. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. You can't write a book and include other people's work without paying those people for using their work. You know? So, yeah, I think the people running the show at YouTube headquarters now must be a combination of greedy, wealthy bastards just in it for the money, and children, kids. They might have very fancy trousers and shoes and haircuts, but they know nothing about life and they know nothing about creativity. They will say that they know a lot about creativity. Oh, you're so creative. We are creative. No, making a reaction video is not being creative. Making AI slop is not being creative. That's not what creativity is. But I don't think they understand. they wouldn't know what it is. So this is why I'm putting no AI badge on my thumbnails on the main channel now. And when I upload videos on the outdoors channel, I will do it there as well. So more people should do that. I have history vlogging through history. I never heard about that channel. He only reacts to creators in his field. If he reacts to other videos, I wouldn't be interested in watching that. Yeah. Thank you. Again, Murphy, thank you. And Jamie, thank you. Yes. Yeah. Yes, Jamie says, I like the channel of the Irish woman hiking. Watched some, subscribe. That's great. Sometimes I will share videos of people making original, authentic content. So yesterday, I think it was, I shared three videos from 3 separate channels. They're all authentic. I did that on the main channel. Yeah. Because those channels deserve more attention. Sea Pigeon says, what do you think of Freya North in Norway? If you've seen her. Yes, I've seen the thumbnails, but I have an allergy, you see. So I haven't clicked on any of those thumbnails. I'm allergic to nose rings. Yeah. Even watching nose rings, I can't do it. So that's the issue, you see. Yeah. Why do young women hate their noses so much now? I don't know why. I don't know why. The Slovakian Socialist Party, I don't know so much about it. Honestly. Negro from Turkey. Hello there. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, of course there's the the nose ring theory. Yeah, the nose ring theory. There are videos about it. Yeah. I'm not making it up. Yeah. Negro. Oh. Oh, very funny. Yeah. I think that's okay. No, I honestly, I'm an author, so you don't get to trick me. Well, you tricked me there, but it's like this is what people need to understand. When you're an author, you don't have any words that you won't use, say, or write. So you're not going to shock me. It's like I will not be censored. Yeah, it's the theory. Yeah, Rocky Mountain Bear. It's yes, it's correct. It says anyone with a nose ring bases their life around their trauma. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a note on that. We tend to look at other cultures, also look at cultures back in time and so on, and we say that, oh, they are barbaric. How can they do that to themselves and so on? What we fail to see is our own culture and how extreme it has become. It really is extreme. It really is extreme. If you look at our culture from the outside, which is something that people really should try to do, you will see that it is as extreme as many other cultures that we criticize, and rightly so, but we fail to criticize our own culture. We are living in a neo feudalistic world, a society with very little freedom, where self mutilation is widespread. And I could go on and on. I could go on and on. And it's not, Western culture now is not a healthy culture. It really isn't. It really isn't. And it's easy to prove that when you look at how unhappy people are. So, yeah. By the way, yeah, Rocky Mountain Bear, I hate to break it to you, but we've been there for a long time now. I think I'm speaking as a Norwegian. It's not as crazy here. Um, yeah. Yeah, Divina. Piercings, branding, and tattoos to make an individual just like everyone else. Yeah, individualism is to me more. It's about what you do, not about how you look. So, um, yeah. Okay. Octalor is asking, would you be more likely to criticize an anarchist Catholic monarchy in Norway or a Jewish-run communist government? How could you have an anarchist Catholic monarchy? You can't have anarchism and Catholicism, or anarchism and a monarchy. Doesn't go together. So, yeah, it's funny with the tattoos and all that. And I used to work as a therapist, and I had a few women we covered in tattoos. Obviously, I didn't see them under the clothes, but you can kind of tell when it's all up here and out on the hands, and you know what they all said actually. They said that they didn't like their body and they wanted to cover it up. And I think that's so sad. That's so sad. Octa Laura, show some respect here. I don't know what is your education. Do you have a degree in history? Do you? Um, or philosophy? Do you? You need to show some respect. There are some people here with a lot of knowledge. Okay. I can tell you that I've spent a good decade now focusing on the Viking Age. And before that, I was always very much into European history. Um, and I do not see myself as an expert at all because there's so much to learn. But anyway, you should get the point. Laura says an aging body with tattoos is worse than a young body with tattoos. Let me be brutally honest with you. I disagree, but there's a reason for that. I think the worst thing with tattoos is when you see tattoos on a beautiful woman. I'm saying that as a man who likes the female form, so to speak. And it's like, I love nature, and I see, to me, a beautiful woman is like maybe the most beautiful thing in nature, right? And nature is holy to me as a Norse pagan. And when you see that when you see tattoos on that, it's just like it shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be there. Because I can think of now I've started thinking about, okay, I'm a dirty old man now, so yeah, but you get my point. It's like women are like, guys, help me out. Help me out there. Women are like, it's a beautiful thing, right? And then you see a woman with tattoos, and it's like, no, shouldn't be there. It shouldn't be there. Yeah. Creature says tattoos on a woman is like graffiti on a hiking trail. Yeah. What about Otzi also had tattoos? Yeah, what's your point? It's a very old thing, of course. So what? Yeah. Yeah, I think tattoos back in Otzi's time was different. I think we don't know for sure, but I think it was connected to the afterlife in many cases. I think so. Yeah, Carl says only 50% like tattoos, so why only give yourself only half a chance to find a mate? Yeah, I can tell you some of the descriptions I've heard other men have, told me about what they've seen. It's not like it's usually not. It's either a topic of ridicule or disgust. Sorry, it's just I'm being truthful here. A minority of men like it, but not the majority. So no. Um, there is no evidence, Amy, that the Vikings had tattoos, and it's not. There is no word about. There is no word for that in the Norse language. So that's a TV thing. It's a popular culture thing. It was most likely not part of their culture. Could someone from Scandinavia have traveled to an area where they practiced tattooing and gotten a tattoo? I don't know. It's not unlikely that it happened. Maybe. But it was it was not it was not a part of Norse culture. So yeah. And people mention cultures in the past that had tattoos. Yeah, but I could mention even more cultures in the past that didn't. So saying that some culture before the Viking Age or at the same time as the Viking Age practiced tattooing doesn't mean that the Vikings or the Norse did. So oh yeah, Ragnar Lodbrok was a real person. Yeah, yeah. I haven't watched the series. I've seen some photos. That's been more than enough. It's fantasy, it's just fantasy. Country says, I love nature and a woman is naturally beautiful. No need for cosmetics, breast enhancements, buttocks shaping, etc. I absolutely agree. Amy, do you have any tattoos? No, I don't. No. But it's not like if you have a tattoo, I have no problem with that. It's just that we have to be it must be allowed to say, as I say here, that I think women are more attractive without tattoos, and that's just a preference. It's just a preference, It's like if you have a tattoo, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. that's not what I'm saying. So yeah. So but I guess the tattoos have an interesting place in human history. Actually, no, it's okay to ask, Amy. That's okay. Priscilla, you are from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico. Did I pronounce it correctly? Would like to know if any Viking came to the Caribbean island. Well, they had the technology and the ability to do that, to go there. Did they? We don't know. You would have to find, you would have to need archaeological evidence for that. But anyway, I have to end the live stream there. Hope you have a wonderful evening or day, whatever it is.